live now.
You ready for it?
I'm ready for you.
All right, hey everybody. All right. Good morning here, everybody. It's a little early for a drink, but we're going to give away a bunch of money today, and I have to soften the blow of lowering my bank account balance for the benefit of other people. Of course, it's the best thing that we do. It's the most fun that we do. Welcome. Thanks for being here, everybody. It's February 26, 2020. It's 10 a.m. Central Time. I'm Rob Booker. I'm here with the team. I'm here with Justin over here behind the camera. I'm here with Holly over here behind the camera. And then why don't we get a look at Francine over here, who just got a tattoo. Francine, how are you this morning? Thanks, Francine, for printing off all these stories. She's so quiet. She's so quiet all the time. She hardly says a thing. Thank you for all you do, Francine. I know you're not very talkative, but we appreciate all you do. Today on the broadcast, we're going to look at some charts. We're going to thank our sponsor, IGUS. IGUS is a leading Forex broker. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all traders. Remember, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. If you're here, leave a comment. If you're here on Facebook, leave a comment. I'll reply to those comments. If you're here on YouTube, say hi to everybody in the chat room. If you're here on Periscope or Twitter or Twitch, I don't know how you comment, but you're welcome to do that as well. We're going to look at some charts today. We're going to do that magic trick on the charts that we wanted to do with the full screen. We're going to talk about the last few days of trading and the coronavirus and the market sell-off and whether this bounce today is for real, whether we should take it seriously. We're going to look at support and resistance levels that are going to come into play as we move forward. And then we're going to do a giveaway. So once again, thanks for being here. Excited to spend some time with you. We're going to look at the charts, but remember, this is why we're looking at the charts. This is why we're doing the giveaway. On January 16th, I bought $5,355 worth of calls on the UVXY. I expected an explosion of volatility in January. Didn't get it in January, but then just in the last couple of days, those contracts appreciated in value. I sold those same calls for $23,275. My math is not great, but $23,000 minus $5,000 is about $18,000. So we're going to give away some of that money. I feel like trading is a blessing in my life, and I know that you feel the same way that I do if you're watching this. When something great happens to you, you want to share it with the people you love. And so next to taking care of my family and watching my kids grow up and be strong, independent, and happy, the greatest satisfaction and happiness in my life comes from spending time with you. Whether it's online, whether it's on in person or whatever else, it comes from spending time with you. So a toast to all of you that are out there. Thank you so much for all your submissions. Hundreds of you wrote in and asked how we could help friends of yours, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's take a look at the markets. I want to look at this bounce today, and I want to ask the question, is this bounce for real? Generally speaking, in a sell-off in a bull trend like this for the S&P 500, what you're going to get is a 48-hour correction. And if it lasts longer than 48 hours, then there's a problem. And we generally haven't seen these corrections last longer than 48 hours. So if you have a correction that lasts longer than 48 hours, you should call it your financial advisor or your doctor. If we break below, like the S&P, the SPY, the SPY, if we break below 312, 311, and we stay there through the end of this week, through Friday, that's longer than 48 hours, and there's a problem. And that means that we're going to dip deeper into bear territory and maybe even end the week much lower than where we began. And listen, I don't want to be alarming, but there is a conspiracy theory that I think is not a conspiracy theory, and I don't think it's a theory. Look at this trend. It just goes on forever, right? You go back into the Obama presidency and you go to the bottom made in 2010, 2011, and it's just been a straight shot upward in the markets. I don't want to suggest anything inappropriate, but the central banks of the world are conspiring to make rich people richer. They have lowered interest rates. That means the banks pay lower interest rates. That means the banks can lend out money to rich people at lower interest rates. And you know what rich people did with all that money they borrowed? You know what the rich people did with all the hedge fund money they borrowed? They bought stocks. And they bought stocks, and then they owe very little interest, so they're just paying the interest on that debt. And that's going to last forever. The central banks of the world have definitely conspired to make cheap money available to the richest of the rich. I don't know about you, but when I wasn't doing well, there weren't banks clamoring to give me low interest rate loans so I could go buy stocks that went up. It's a conspiracy that keeps wealthy people wealthy forever, and I intend to break that cycle as much as I can. That's what we do here. That's what this is all about. So let's talk about the charts. This is the S&P 500. What I do is I go back as far as I can go back. I go back on a chart, 1,000 candles, 2,000 candles, 5,000 candles, and I start drawing support and resistance levels. And what I do is I connect two levels together, and I try to color that line maybe something that's dim enough so that it doesn't overwhelm the charts, but it's dark enough that I can see it going forward. And what we're doing here is we're doing the magic trick. When you draw these levels on your chart, what you are doing is you are drawing levels that will come into play later on. For example, we drew this level across the lows, and then the S&P 500 returned to those lows and used it as support. We can draw these levels back in history, and then when we finally get back to the present day, what you're going to find is we know exactly where price will stop. And we know it. We don't think it, we know it. It's not like magic, although it seems like magic. Magic is simply something that is so difficult to explain that it seems like it's supernatural. And that's what I think support and resistance does. You might think I'm crazy, but if you watch this, I have not drawn support and resistance on the S&P 500 in a long time, and that's what we're doing now. Now, I'm guessing that when the S&P 500 recovers on this chart and begins to move up, it's going to stop near or consolidate around those levels. And if it breaks above those levels, it's going to stop at the next levels that we have drawn on the charts. And that will continue, I think, for quite some time. And there we go. We stop at that level. We pause at that level and we break through that level. Where do you think price is now going on this chart? It's pretty clear to me that price wants to go to this previous high represented by support and resistance. That's pretty easy for me to figure out. I'm not 100% sure about it, but I'm guessing that we get there, and we do get there. Now, if we stop there or not isn't my concern now. I know it's a target. It gives me a great target in the event that I need to know where to start getting out or where to start taking profit. So as it rises, what I want to do is I want to start putting support and resistance levels underneath price. And those are going to come into play as well. And I want to keep putting support and resistance levels on the chart. Sometimes they're rising, sometimes they're falling, sometimes they're in a good spot, sometimes I need to adjust them a little bit to represent where price really went to. Let's see what would have happened if I had left it where it was. That's where I should have put it. I should have connected those two lows because that did catch the low. And in an upward trend, that bounce was a great place to go long. I'm going to leave it to your imagination what you could do if you learned to simply draw support and resistance levels on your charts. Like, forget about indicators. Forget about special fancy indicators. Forget about sophisticated fundamental economic analysis for a minute and just get some levels on your charts. And if you get those levels on your charts, I think some pretty magical things start to happen. Now, I'm not going to draw levels in all exactly the right places, but eventually I'm going to get so many levels on this chart that it's going to start looking like Star Wars. And you're going to see that these levels, like this blue one, I'm going to color this blue just for a minute. So you can see, like, look where price stopped. We drew it across these two highs, and then, you know, months later, the low was in place, and that was a place to buy the bounce. If you're in an upward trend, you know that that's exactly what you want to do. You want to buy the bounce. You want to buy on a retracement. You want to buy when a financial instrument is on sale. You want to beat rich people at their own game. You want to compete with the banks and the low interest rate loans given to billionaires. You got to know where the levels are. I'm not saying that these are bank levels or these are supply and demand levels. I hate talking like that. I hate that talk. I don't know where the bank levels are. Nobody knows where the bank levels are. That's a ridiculous statement. All I know is that somehow these levels work. I don't care if it's because, I don't care why it is. I don't care if it's because every time somebody flushes the toilet on the 10th floor of the Goldman Sachs men's bathroom that price makes a low. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. That's not important. What I care about is there's an indisputable fact that the central banks of the world are run by and managed by rich people who are giving low interest rate loans to their friends who are other rich people who are then buying stocks with those low interest rate loans. And that has been what kept the stock markets of the world going up. But it's the reason the stock markets of the world went up, but wages didn't go anywhere. Why are people making less money per hour than they ever have before? Why are people saving less for retirement than they ever have before? Why do people feel poorer than they ever have before, even though the stock markets of the world are going up? Because when you're a super giant rich person and you're making a ton of money buying stocks with low interest loans, your first consideration isn't that you're going to go give your people that work with you a raise. It was the first thing I thought of at the end of the year, was how to get the two of you a raise. That's all I think about. So I'm on your side. So let's keep going. Wow, that was a deviation from the script here. So let's keep going up. And so now we're in this gigantic upward trend, and we don't even have levels anymore where this might stop. So if you want to know where price is going to stop, I want you to draw levels on your charts on top of bars or candles. And you could color those like red, because those are going to be stopping points. And by connecting two tops, what you do is you put in place targets for where price might stop on an upward move. Like there. And there again. Okay, I know this works, but I'm regularly surprised that I put my reputation on the line by drawing these stupid levels and then they come into play. Oh, there's one. Look at how that worked. I don't even remember where that line was. I don't even remember it. Is that kind of, and look where it dropped here after it went up. That's why I call it a magic trick. Okay, I'm forgetting to draw my levels. I'm getting so excited I'm forgetting to draw stuff. So when you want to have a target on price, this is what you do. Okay, so we're going to keep moving forward. We've run out of levels. Oh my gosh, and price drops. So in a flash crash type of a situation in October of 2014, manufacturing numbers in China dipped or something like that, and everybody got all concerned. Price dipped to that level that we had drawn on the chart. And then price kind of rides along these levels for a while, and it starts printing all these bearish signals. Those are bearish profit circles. And then price drops suddenly in August 2015. That was the manufacturing slowdown worry. And it stopped at those levels that we drew. Now I'm just going to move forward because we don't want to have this, we don't want this to go on forever, right? You want to get to gold. So we'll get to gold. We'll just draw a few more levels in this upward trend. Where did it stop? I can't believe these levels keep coming back. It is amazing, isn't it, Justin?
It's crazy.
This is insane. So we just keep connecting these lows. Look at how price stops along the way at these levels. Francine, what do you think about this? She's speechless. Let's get a shot of Francine. Francine, what would you say to everybody out there? Francine's the mascot of Automatic Income. It's probably the newsletter product that I'm most proud of. Anyway. Yeah, let's move forward. Francine, thanks for your comments. We appreciate you being here. So I've got some pivots on the chart. We don't need those pivots. So I'm going to get rid of the pivots because they just add lines that we don't need for right now. There we go. Let's clean up the charts. We don't need those levels. And here we are at present day. So where are we going if the price continues to drop? We're going to these levels of support. If we break through 312 this week, we are going down and dropping to these levels. So if I buy a put on the SPY, if I buy March puts or April puts, I love those two. I love June or July puts. If I buy those puts, that's where price is going, in my opinion. And if I think there's going to be a bounce, more likely than not, those are the levels at which it's going to happen. So do I think the coronavirus is a real threat? Yeah, I think there's a support level right where we're at. And if we break down through it, we know where price is going. I don't think the bounce can happen where we are right now. I don't think that, technically speaking, I don't think it can happen here. I think whatever you're looking at today is a temporary move up before we drop and finally hit either the super near-term 313, 314 support, And then if we break through that, then we've got levels below. And if we break above that, we've got that support level, that resistance level way up high. Let's go to gold. Now for gold, I use the GLD. It's just a nice, it's a nice equivalent of gold that gives me some history, gives me some good technical. I could use the gold, I could use GC, the continuous contract. I could use that. Either one's fine. So here are gold futures. We can go back on gold futures and let's plot some stuff. So we'll go back to 2014, 2013. That's good. So let's hide the volume. We don't need volume. And let's draw some levels on gold. As soon as we're done drawing some levels on gold, we'll kind of get an idea for where gold might be going. If I'm a gold bull long term, I think that gold, I don't believe that gold is the only store of true financial or monetary value. I think that China, I think it's just it's a supply and demand problem. That China buys a lot of the world's gold and not a lot of people know it. I think China is storing it, and I think when we all find out that China has most of it, I think that the price of gold will go up. I also think that people get super excited about gold, and because of that, I need to watch it. And I think I would rather be long gold than short gold, but I wouldn't be buying gold at current levels because it's already moved so much. So these levels work. We know that price consolidates around some of these levels that we drew. I'm worried that I don't have enough targets on the upside, so I need to draw a level, a red level or two on top of the bars. So I have some targets if price decides to continue upward. And I'm not going to be dogmatic. I'm not going to get super specific. I know these levels are approximations. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. You can't know where price is going. That's ridiculous. You can only estimate where price will be going based on its tendency to hit and stay at and use levels of support and resistance. As Francine always says, no wait, it's my friend Brian Shannon of Alpha Trends. Follow him on Twitter. Only price pays. You got to follow the price, right? And price is represented on support and resistance really nicely. He does a little trick with VWAP, volume weighted average price, that is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. It's not my strength. That's his. You should follow him on Twitter if you want to follow that stuff. Okay, I used to chart the S&P 500 against gold. I don't really care about that right now. That's not my concern right now. Here we are. We didn't get a real target on the top here. We don't have a really great level up top. I guess we could connect these. Yeah, okay, so it feels like we're at a near-term top that gold kind of wants to move around where it's at right now. But if it breaks above the highs of 1694, then what we've got in play is 1860. You know, this red level way above where we are right now. If we break lower than say 1550, then we've got beautiful levels of support and resistance that are lower. All right. Let's read some stories. So hundreds of you, many of you wrote in and you told us about friends of yours that needed help. So if you missed the conversation and you missed the beginning of the show here, I fortunately made $18,000 trading UVXY and made a few $1,000s more trading VERI, VBTX. I don't know what else I closed. Sony. We can see here my history. This is my Robinhood account. I have a Thinkorswim and a Tastyworks account as well. So all of them are doing reasonably well. But VBTX, UVXY, I'm in an H&R Block trade. EWI closed at basically break even. Sony made some money. Verizon made some money. Johnson Controls was a trend trade. That made some money. So anyway, I made some money recently. And I thought when something good happens to me and I feel like I'm fortunate enough to have some success, I want to share it with others. And that means you. So I asked you to write me, and I asked you not to tell me about how you need help. I think you can trade. I think you can do your own work for yourself, and I think we do better when we think of others. It's just my opinion. You can follow somebody else on YouTube if you want someone to give you money, you can follow somebody else on YouTube or whatever else. Good afternoon, Rob. My name is Rob Simmons, and I just watched your YouTube video pertaining to someone I feel may be in need. They might be able to use $500 to $1,000. I have a friend that's a single mom of 2 girls, the youngest being 1 year old. Her only means of transportation has been operable for about the past 5 months. She needs a new engine. She thought the repair shop had finally located an engine for her, only to discover it did not fit. She's in desperate need of transportation, and I feel she could use a little help toward getting another vehicle. Thanks for all you do. Your videos have been educational for me in my quest for... I can't even say these things because I can't stop myself. So, here's what you're going to do, Rob Simmons. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to send me an email, rob@wrbooker.com. You already have my email because you wrote me once. And we're going to send you, we'll just send it to you. And I trust that you'll get it to the right place for your friend that is a single mom of 2 girls that is raised by, I can't talk about it. We're moving on. I can't read this. Can anybody else here read this? Holly, can you read this? No?
I already had to read it once.
You already had to read it once. Thanks, Francine, for nothing. Our friend Algis Morales writes, Rob, as a longtime and lifetime member of your courses, thank you for all you've done in my trading journey, and especially for how gracious you've been in helping people. You've given us the privilege to nominate who could be benefited or blessed by an unexpected gift, like the ones you've been giving since you started the Exotics Club. I'm happy and very proud to be part of this group. I love you back. Rob, my neighbors across the street are blank and blank. I almost said their names. They met in the 1970s in Colombia while doing and supporting missionary work in the translation of the Bible in several indigenous languages. They live here in California on the Central Coast and have been a blessing as neighbors since I moved here about 5 years ago. We live in right smack halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco. Removed the name, was diagnosed with ALS in the last year, and recently had a procedure to place a feeding port so she can eat and be fed, avoiding the danger of choking. Little by little, she's been losing the ability to speak. All right, I can't. Can we break for a commercial? Do we have commercials on this show? Can we break for a commercial? Everybody here can't contain themselves. I know you can relate to this as well, but Leslie and John, just about 3 weeks ago, they lost their dog. So did I. So they're some of the kindest people I know. They're always willing to help others. Maybe they could have some help. I don't know what we can do for them, but I'll just send me an email. Hopefully you can use Venmo. If you can't use Venmo, we could do PayPal. And we'll send your friends through you $1,000, and then you do whatever you want with it. You take it to Home Depot and get a gift card. You take it to whatever and get a gift card. You do whatever you want with it. You give them cash. You just say that, I don't know what you want to tell them. You make it anonymous. You leave it on their front porch. Doesn't matter to me. It's a privilege and an honor to do this. So where does all this money come from? It comes from the trading, and it comes from our sponsor, IGUS, which is a leading Forex broker. They give me money to sponsor my YouTube videos, and then I just turn around and give it to you or your friends or people in need. I think that's the best use of that money. I don't need another bottle of Don Draper's rye whiskey. I don't need another car. I don't need another first-class airline ticket. I don't need another gigantic hotel room. I do need a Gucci briefcase, but I'll worry about that on my own. But I love you and I care about you, and I'm grateful to be here with you. There is literally a conspiracy in the world today to keep those of us that aren't doing well not doing well. And there is a conspiracy to keep the people who are doing well doing better and better all the time. And that's why that's exactly what happens, because that's the way it's set up. But not the way it's set up here. We try to even things out a little bit. I'm no Bernie Sanders, but I do love giving away stuff. So maybe I am Bernie Sanders. Love him or hate him. Anyway, I love you all. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. It's 25 minutes past the hour. I think this was where we wanted to wrap things up today. Welcome, IGUS. Giveaway sponsors link, IGUS is below. Open up an FX account. Start trading FX. That's what I did for 18 years. Oh, and last of all, I want to know what trading problems you are struggling with. So send me an email, rob@wrbooker.com. Send me an email and talk to me about, are you keeping your losers open too long? Are you not writing out your winners long enough? Are you not trading your plan? Or are you not planning your trades? Write me and give me some submissions. We'll do a video where we read some of those on the air. I'm going to do a class with my friend who is a certified, licensed therapist, counselor, and we can talk about some of these issues, why we self-sabotage, why we do exactly the thing that we know is the wrong thing to do. Send me some comments, send me some stories, send me some examples. Do you have a spouse or a partner who isn't supportive of your trading? Are you recovering from a big loss and you've lost your confidence? Are you keeping your winners open so short that you can't? Are you sabotaging your trading? Are you struggling with your confidence? Are you struggling to find a system and then stay with it? Any of those problems, any of those questions, write in. We'll give away some prizes. We'll read those questions. And I'm going to develop a super affordable course that is on those topics, and we'll use some of those stories to help out with the course. So that's how you can help me. I really appreciate it. Thanks to Holly for running camera number 2. Thanks for Justin for running the whole setup and keeping things up. Francine, thanks for nothing. You didn't do anything today. You just sat there with your tattoos. Who's sitting next to Francine down there? I can't remember what his name is.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't either.
Okay, we're going to find out what his name is. And then put him back down there, and then we'll go out on him.
His name's Lincoln.
Lincoln. And then we'll go out on Lincoln. So thanks, everybody, for being here. Lincoln, wave goodbye to everybody. Thanks for being here. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time.